I know.
Yeah. This is like, you're awesome. So Ruthie just told us that she dropped 12 kilos so far. If you were going to give one piece of advice to somebody starting out, what would you say is kind of the mindset shift you had that's been most effective for you?
Oh, that's a tough one. There are so many little things. Hold on. I mean, to me, the dinner and done and the no carb for dinner are I think the biggest win.
So true. What's your kind of nighttime routine after dinner?
I often do sports actually after dinner. So one evening I swim, one evening I play kadureshet, which is catchball. And I used to come home and snack, and now I don't even. I go straight to the shower, straight to the bedroom, and I don't even go through the kitchen. I don't need it. I don't feel like I have the need. So
That's fantastic.
Besides that, I just I'm quite busy. I mean, sometimes I go out and dinner is a little later, but I try to eat as early as possible. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And you really leaned into the find other fun part too, which I think is so important and really beautiful. Yeah, so thank you. Elena, I know also you've been having some awesome success, and what's one thing you would want to share kind of for starting today as everyone gets on?
I think, well, for me, the biggest thing I think that's like been a big hurdle for me, like over my whole years with like Beachbody and everything, was the feeling like if I miss a day or I like don't do one thing right, then I get all thrown off track, and then like months go by, right? And then until I get back. And so at like some point, like fairly recently, like I guess maybe over the last year or so, maybe not quite a year, I just had this like mindset shift and like realization that it's like, fine, like I don't have to exercise every day, right? Like, because before it was like, oh, well, you have Motzei Shabbat, you have to exercise. And I just can't do that most of the time, like in the winter or not the winter, sorry, in the summer, because I'm just too tired and I can't, it's too late and whatever it is. So for me, that was like a big thing of like, no, that's fine. And Shabbat can be my rest day, because if I leave the house and I go somewhere, I'm walking and I'm walking pretty far. So I'm still moving, or even in the house, I'm going up and down the stairs 1,000 times. So I'm that not getting like, oh, well, I missed a day. Now let's wait 6 months until I even do something again, was really, really big for me, because it doesn't matter. You can just go back. Right? If you have 5 minutes, do something for 5 minutes. If you have 10 minutes, do something for 10 minutes. So that I think is kind of the biggest thing, to not just like throw me off.
I love that. Like staying aligned with what's behind why you're working out. So it doesn't matter like what it looks like today. And I think, Ruthie, what you said also kind of comes to that, right? Like what's behind dinner and done is to have other things to do in the evening that are positive, and then train yourself out of the kitchens. I really think those are both such powerful insights that are going to really help everybody's listening to the recording. And Charlotte, welcome. Aviva, welcome. Yoni, welcome. And first of all, I was just following Yoni on Instagram, and I was so happy to see that Yoni had such good Shabbos. Always fun. I look forward every morning. I go check her morning status. Okay, I think, should we just get started? What do you think, Yoni? Should we give it another minute or just get started?
It's up to you. I mean, people who are going to want to hear the recording, they'll hear the recording. If people have stuff going on, if you want to give it another minute, you can, but I don't see why not. Like people just join when they come.
Exactly. So I like to respect the people who show up on time also. And let's jump right in. This was a really short chapter. Really short, and I was really excited to get it because it's also super actionable and it had so much wisdom. So what was in chapter 5 for anybody who's listening to the recording, who's been following along, read it, didn't read it. Chapter 5 was her 30-day plan for 4 weeks, how to set up and prep and see weight loss in 4 weeks. And I left my notebook downstairs. My daughter's bringing it up right now with all my notes. But what I want to kind of make the general picture of was that she breaks it down that at the beginning, if you really want to be successful over this next month, and this is perfect because we have 1 week till the end of May, and then it's June. And June is like, it's such a quiet month. Like we have Shavuos, it's like a little 3-day hug, but otherwise it's really our last chance before it's super summer and all the kids are finishing school and it's crazy town to find a flow and a rhythm. And so it's such a perfect time. Thank you, sweetheart. It's such a perfect time to make a plan. And she broke it down into mindset and then function in each week. And I think it's really similar to what you guys have absorbed from To Be Mindset. You know, Elena and Ruthie shared, okay, so I took dinner and done, or I took like, you know, exercises extra credit. And I actually made it relevant and real for me personally. Like this is what that actually looks like for me. And she kind of does that with her 4-day plan. She says, she talks about, hey, choose your recipes in advance. Choose your recipes in advance and make double. And there's a genius here because in week 1, her idea is make it fun. If it doesn't start out being fun and weight loss doesn't start out seeing some results and being fun, the like rate of success that you're going to be there for 3 weeks from now is not high. So she says, start out by making it fun and pick your recipes in advance. Either use the ones in the book or go through the To Be Mindset recipes and just choose. Make sure that you're doubling up recipes in week 1 and week 2, ones that you can easily freeze. And I want to give you guys just a little nugget here of why this is so genius and why we love Alana and her practical approach to mindset is that when you actually choose a bunch of recipes in advance, guess what? It makes tracking like a non-issue because you basically pre-tracked and you didn't really have to think about it. And so when you can just focus on water first and veggies most. So let's say that, you know, stuff happens, life happens, and you aren't able to make, you know, one of the other meals that you had planned on. It's okay. You just focus on water first, veggies most, because the majority of your choices have already been made. And you're going to see results right away when you do that. And so that makes it really fun. So I want to pause here for a sec and ask you guys, what has really made the journey fun for you? What really increased the fun factor, especially in the beginning, to help you get those first wins that really built up your momentum, helped you stick or helped you come back when you got a little less sticky? Anybody have something to share? Like something that really increased the fun factor for you when it came to food? Yoni.
It wasn't, I was going to say, it's not just about food, which is good that it's not just about, I think the fact that at the beginning, and some people have a hard time with it and some people have less of a hard time with it, but really investing in the group, like really investing in listening to other people who were doing it and being like, I don't know, almost challenging myself to stuff that like, oh yeah, no, I don't do that. Like kind of breaking down that mentality of what if I could? And so I feel like it's one of those where, you know, there are people, oh, I can't get away from sugar, or I can't get away with it, or I don't like peeing all the time. Or like, I was one of those, I don't like peeing all the time. And I drink, you know, 6+ liters every day without thinking. But it took quite the journey to get there. And I think part of it was simply just like grabbing on to our group and realizing that you are supported the whole way through with people who might be at a different place, but are all in that challenge or struggle with you. And so I think part of that fun, if you're going to call it that, like, was really just knowing that there was this different resource that other people actually don't have access to because they're just not in our group. and to get this perspective that might be something that shifts my head because I hadn't thought of it. So we have all the Lana's content, but we have this almost like layer on top of it of our group. It is Jewish. It has recipes I can use and not have to adjust because somehow there's, you know, cheese and meat and bacon or whatever thrown in. And it's people who know my struggle. I think the biggest thing when coming to 2B in our group was not, you know, seeing like in non-Jewish groups where, oh, they have Christmas dinner and they're complaining that they have to take off, you know, the whole year to get Christmas dinner done. And like, if you were not eating healthy before, you were doing that every Friday night and every Shabbos lunch. And so I think all those pieces together was the fun of being able to like have this group that knew where you were coming from.
I love that. It's so powerful. And Sabrina shared in the chat also like making indulgent breakfast. And what's one also the things Alana mentions is the community, new recipes, and journaling how your meal feels. And this is really interesting because I don't remember the first or second or third time I read the book pinpointing on this point. But one of the things she says about week 1 is because you've already chosen your recipes, because either you're following the meal plan in Beachbody, don't forget, there's, hold on. There's already pre-done meal plans, or you just make your own through putting together. Charlotte, I'm trying to mute you. If you can mute yourself, thank you. Okay. Be really helpful. So she says, then you can just journal how your meal feels. And I've seen in many of you guys in the community who I've been blessed to work with over the years, really fun ways that people label like what meals are fun for them. So I've had clients and people we've worked with in the group who have a WhatsApp chat with themselves, and they put like an emoji heart on meals that they love. And that's really fun for them. I have ones who journal in the actual tracker. And so they circle with a highlighter which meals are really fun and they really enjoyed. And they have a different color for meals that like they wouldn't repeat or weren't as filling or didn't keep them full as long. And they have like their own private code. And again, that's kind of what they were saying. People who are successful, they make it personal. It's not about following a diet. It's about making it fun for you. So I thought that was really special and a great way to kind of think about this last week of May. How can I reintegrate the fun? How can I share more fun in the group? How can I see what other people are finding fun? How can I try a different workout, try a different recipe, put a few things together that are really, I'm looking forward to, that are going to be fun. Okay. So then she gives some strategies. And she says in week 1, the 2 things you really want to focus on is prepping grabbable, snackable veggies, because you might not be used to having veggies and water as your snack. So line up your water bottles, get your water enhancers ready, put together some cut vegetables or bag salads for snacks, because most likely you don't snack on veggies when you're first getting started. Or if you're maybe not in weight loss zone and you're a little more in maintenance zone or playing around and that was not sure why things aren't losing weight zone. Probably your snacks have become something besides veggies and different forms of water, tea, hot cocoa, etc. And so she said, if you really just focus on that, now that you've already planned your meals, more or less, then it's really good at strategy-wise, give you quick wins where you feel good and you feel successful. And then that is what's going to get you through week 1, which is always a little bit uncomfortable. We all know it's fun, but it's fun like an uncertainty, like an adventure, like, ooh, what's going to happen next? So in week 2, she talks about how do we keep it up? We keep it up by accelerating. How many of us feel like we start to get momentum and we actually take our foot off the gas? And then we wonder why we're slowing down. Has that ever happened to like anybody except me? Come on, right? And so she talks about really accelerating your goals, looking at what worked in week 1. And if you really planned in week 1 and you put half your food away and you doubled those, hamburger recipes, or, you could make sure you get extra eggplant prepped so you could do eggplant pizzas again, or you got twice as many spaghetti squash so you'd have it for the next week. Now you can really accelerate your goals and look at where you didn't grab veggies for a snack. Why was that? And you can just actually be even more successful week 2, because now you've had some experience. Oh, I need a salad with that spaghetti squash and meat sauce. That meat sauce, I actually can, whatever, I like zoodles better. I'm going to throw it over zoodles. Who cares what I had planned? And you're able to improve. So I'd love to hear and open the floor. Sabrina, Aviva, Rena, welcome. What have you guys found that helped you to accelerate? When you were in a good groove, we've all been there when we've taken our foot off the gas and decelerated, but we've also had times where we have accelerated, we're being successful, we're starting to build momentum, and we've accelerated. So I would like to open it up here and check in with you guys. What have you found over your journey that helped you accelerate when you were doing well? And like kind of dig down into what was being successful. Yoni, Charlotte, anybody? Hi, Donna, welcome.
I think part of it is almost what I was saying at the beginning is the mini challenges that you do to yourself, not against anybody else, not comparing yourself to somebody else's success. And that's like a very big part of it, because that's sometimes where people do decelerate. It's like, oh, well, I'm doing it. Look at that person. They're, losing so much and now I'm going slowly, and all of a sudden the losing is a negative. So rather than saying like, oh, okay, where can I amp things up in increments? And I think part of it is that even getting started, being able to look at it is not trying to like bite off more than you can chew that first step. So that you're saying, okay, I'm starting with X, but then I'll do X and Y, and then I'll do X, Y, and Z. And like where it's all bite-sized pieces, but you still are adding on. So that's this cumulative growth, rather than being overwhelmed from the get-go, so that you're able to see with each step that there's more growth, and that you're digging in a bit deeper, but you're not kind of piling on too much at once where you're losing sight of what you're trying to concentrate on with each new week.
Oh, I love that. And to build on that, I think when she talks about, again, for everybody who joined late, we're talking about chapter 5 of the book, where she talks about her 30-day plan. And why looking at things, we're all about the long haul here, but why you can take 30 days and break it into weeks and create momentum, no matter where you are in your journey, by looking at it and having that beginner mindset. And I think, Yoni, that's, I think, really what you just touched on, is a beginner mindset. No matter where you are on this journey, looking and owning where you are right now and saying, okay, this is where I am. So what's the next baby step I can do to build on my success to keep going? Like you said, whether it's adding another 2 glasses of water to your day, or, trying a different dressing to make that veggie snack a little more appealing, or being dinner and done. I heard a great new one. Someone who I work with today said, Shalom al Yisrael is for dinner and done. She now says Shalom al Yisrael. Like a blessing to the world, because she is now done eating for the night, which I thought was really cute. So I would share it here. So week 1, we talked about really making choices ahead of time so you can automate some easy success, and doubling up so that already going into week 2, you're not starting from scratch, you're building, and now you're going to accelerate by being like, oh, okay, I'm going to add a little bit more water, or maybe I'll start walking. Maybe I'll try a 5-minute workout. Maybe, somebody else shared that they accelerated their workouts. Where's that chat? I missed what they said in the chat. They added a workout day, and also, but chose to love them. And instead of just eating veggies because she had to for the snack, like really finding ways to accelerate her results by making the things she did in week 1 kind of loving it more, adding a little more happiness, which I think from amazing. Okay, so week 3 and 4, Alana put together. Why? Why would she put 3 and 4 together and then dig really into 3 and 4? I think that was a great point. Sabrina made another really good point in the chat, so you can check that out, and I'll bring it up here. So what's really interesting, Sabrina, in terms of what you just said, of making it more fun and only eating food you actually like, instead of kind of eating food you think is diet rabbit food, is in week 3 and 4, she says, hey, you're gonna do this anyway. You're putting in the effort now. The more effort you put in now, the more effortful it is, the more effortless it will become. And that's kind of week 3 mindset is, okay, right now, maybe you're running out of the recipes that you prepped week 1. You have to go back in and dig deep and look at what's working, and you have to change things up maybe, or you have to do a new batch cooking. Like anybody who's ever done food prep, there's that day of the week where all the food is gone and you're like, well, wait, this is like laundry? I have to always be doing it? No, I didn't sign up for more laundry in my life, right? But we all love clean clothes, and someone's got to do the laundry. So week 3 and 4, she's like, hey, you know what? Working out a system in week 3 and accepting that, yeah, we love clean clothes. We like clean sheets. We're gonna do laundry. We accept that it's a cycle of dirty and clean and dirty and clean. So is food prep. Eat the food, make more food. Eat the food, make more food, right? And so kind of releasing that resistance that there is work involved here. But the more that you find habits and routines and you stop resisting the work that it does take, the more effortless it really becomes, because a lot of the emotional work of resisting and forcing ourselves to do it anyway, I think is the most exhausting part of the whole thing. And I think, Sabrina, you just touched on that so beautifully by talking about choosing to eat food you really like, which again, you still have to prep it, but it feels a lot more effortless than working really hard to make food that you don't like. Donna, Charlotte, Sabrina, Aviva, anybody opening up, Elaine, Yoni, what's something that you did that was really effortful for you, but really was so worth it and became effortless? I'm really curious.
I mean, listen, I think anything that we start doing is difficult at the beginning. I mean, I go back to the water. The fact that people associate me and water is the funniest thing, because I mean, Lily, you remember I would cry that I couldn't get to 2 liters of water. And so to me, that's, you know, mind blowing. That's something that really was beyond, I really thought it was beyond my reach. And maybe there are days once in a blue moon I don't hit 6, but it is so second nature. I mean, it's almost funny because I'm literally sitting here and I finished them, but there's literally just right near me alone, like 3 liters of water. 2 of them are gone, but then it's just the natural thing that there's always bottles with liquid in them near me, so that I don't have to go and get them. I mean, part of that was even the learning curve of I drink, 1 liter, but I'd be in the middle of work, so I wouldn't move to do anything. And it became the learning curve of prepare myself and create situations to make it easier. It didn't just get easier. It's not like when you work out, it's just easier. You're stronger. So it's the same thing with all the habits you're building. It's not like getting the water necessarily was so much easier. It's I made the situation easier for myself to get to the water goal.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. What about you guys? Yes, everything. When you started in December, every step was hard, even cooking dinner. And 4 weeks in, it just really started to become more effortless. Absolutely. And guys, remembering that it's a skill. Like one of the things I think so important when it comes to be mindset and a healthy approach to your health and wellness and your weight is realizing it's really a learnable skill. It's not that, one of us won the genetic lottery here. We're all in the same boat. And if we can learn it, anybody can learn it. And if she could simplify it, then we can teach it and we can improve. Anything you can learn can be improved. And so sometimes I think we question whether or not the effort's going to be worth it. And what we have to remember, it's not about the effort being worth it. We all know the effort's worth it. We just don't always want to put in the effort. But if we remind ourselves that the more effort we put in, the more effortless it does become, then I think it's a little bit easier to push ourselves out of our comfort zone and put effort in. So in week 4, she really focuses on, guess what? By 4 weeks, you've struggled. No one here is perfect. I wish. I don't really wish. Only God's perfect. The rest of us, we are not perfect, but we can make it part of the dance. And this is one of the things I know she got from Tony Robbins, because he talks about fear and bringing it into your dance partner. Instead of like going into a fight with fear or going into a fight with your mistakes, he talks about like inviting it into a dance. And it's really interesting here because she's talking about anytime you look back and you're like, yeah, but you know, I had this week, week 3, I gained, right? Out of the 4 weeks, but you're in week 4. And if you want to keep going and you want to have a sustainable lifestyle, and like, you know, Elena said at the beginning, like, you're not going to get the workout every day. It's just not going to happen. Saturday night would just not be a thing for you. And that's okay. But if you can dance with that and you can take it along with you on your journey, all of our little foibles, all of our personality quirks, all of our baggage, and you can dance with it and be the leader in the dance instead of letting that lead, I think it's really opens it up to being a beautiful journey. And so while I know this is a short chapter, there's a lot of real goodness in it that hits us no matter where we are on our journey. Whether you're returning to weight loss mode, whether you've been in maintenance mode, whether you're on a faster pace or a slower pace, to remember at any time, you can commit 4 weeks to kind of going through a little mini journey or a mini challenge and resetting yourself, especially before a new season. And we're in this transition time. So there's really not a better time to invest 4 weeks and saying, hey, I want to see what can I accomplish in the next 4 weeks. Let's open it up. If we were going to set a 4-week goal for ourselves, what would your goal be? Would it be, we want to make this a SMART goal. So we want it to be something that's measurable. We want it to be something that's simple and clear to state. We want it to be something that's achievable. And we want it to be something that we're going to feel a lot of thankfulness and a lot of gratitude around. So let's talk about some SMART goals. So anybody have an idea? I'll start first. I'm going on 2 trips. I'm going on an 8-day trip with Momentum, with Lori Palatnik, with a group coming to Israel on Tuesday, 3 Yom Ha'atzmaut and everything else, which is going to be hotels and buses. And I want to challenge myself to really keep to my plated system, even though I don't know what I'm always going to get, and keep my room stocked with veggies, keep my backpack stocked, and keep an open mind to bathroom opportunities. And I promise I will take some interesting bathroom selfies over the next week because I don't even know where I'm going to end up. And really keeping an eye on emotions and following through, just following through for the next 4 weeks of actually measuring where things are at the beginning of 4 weeks and at the end of 4 weeks. So let's open it up. What's something that you guys want to take on for yourself in honor of chapter 5?
I'll share something. So my son's bar mitzvah actually is next Shabbos, and we're doing something kind of unique. We like rented this big house that used to be a bed and breakfast. And so it's going to be small. It's 31 people in total. It's basically just family and like our like very close friends, one family. And I just like, I already am starting to get, you know, just like emotionally stressed about like, not even just the bar mitzvah stuff, just the family stuff. And so I'm already trying to just remind myself about just like the emotional eating aspect of it. And I'm going to always have my water bottle. We're going to have, you know, our kumkum and have tea available for people that want it, because we're providing all of the food. Like my mom and I are making everything. And so that helps because everything is what I want it to be. And so like, I know the food choices are going to be great because I have control over it. But just that, like, we'll be up late and then we're waking early, and just like everyone staying in the house, and just the dynamics of that, like, I'm very nervous about. And then like just afterwards. And so keeping that as kind of like my goal I feel like it will be a big step. And if I can really remind myself about, Dinteo and dinner and done, and like all of those things, and my water first and always, right? Then that, I think, will even just be such a great step in being able to do it in the future, when it's like, even when it's like that emotional family stuff, when you're like staying with family or they're staying with you or whatever it is, but on like a smaller scale. So I'm excited for it. And that's like my big goal of just really trying.
And you have
Hey,
like a nice, because you
can
have
I
the
make a
week
small
leading up.
suggestion for the weekend?
Yeah.
Can I make a small suggestion? Get a teammate. Find someone who is your, and I don't mean necessarily in your immediate family, someone who can be putting a bottle of refilled water in your hand when maybe you seem like either you're struggling or it's empty, but that somebody is on like refill. It sounds silly, but when somebody else is taking that worry off of you, that you're not hitting your goals, but someone's, can I refill your water for you? That someone should just be checking in with you, like, do you want me to just grab you some veggies? And you may say no, but it might be at one of those moments where they ask you at just the right moment, where it's a Dinteo kind of moment of, yeah, veggies right now would be a great choice instead of whatever
right.
I'm putting out. So find that person who could be your person throughout the weekend, who also can interfere when people can create eating opportunities that you don't want, or people can create situations where all of a sudden you're going to turn to food. If they know the dynamics of all the family people in the house, that's kind of, I assume your closest friend might be this right person who could be the interference person, and have that conversation before you even get there of like, I need you to be my go-to person this weekend. And they will be your cheerleader through the whole time.
I love that.
Such a great advice. And also leaning into the group. I think all the things that we talked about, you have a week leading up to the bar mitzvah. Then you have the week of the bar mitzvah, and don't ignore the third week, which is the week post bar mitzvah, which anybody who's had the bar mitzvah, right, always knows. It's like, how do you come down off the high gracefully and get everybody back and process, and leaving space for that, like you said, without emotional leaning. So lean into the group, plan what you can ahead of time. And then also remember, you can do all those things that she said, like remember to dance with those emotions. Like you can't get rid of them, but we can dance with them. Anybody else have a goal that they'd like to share for the next 4 weeks? No pressure. You can share it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. But this is community meeting, book club. We're here to support each other. Anybody?
I feel like I'm saying something on each topic.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think, and you know what's going on, but I'm saying even with whatever struggles we all have, I think sometimes it's just keeping to the same journey. You do the best you can with what you're dealt. I think sometimes it's just simply that life takes over and you just do the best you can. Like that's, good days and bad days, and you wake up in the morning, figure out which one. Sometimes you don't know till the middle of the day, but you roll with the punches and you do the best you can with what you're served. It's kind of like the same thing when you're going to be on a bus, you have no idea what's going to show up at a meal. And we went away for a bar mitzvah this weekend. And we were lucky enough to be hosted at the most wonderful family that we didn't know beforehand, but can't wait to make part of our family already now. They were that wonderful. But she laughed because how would I know that the person that I'm staying on went on her own health journey? And she laughed that I came with a bag of like 7 cucumbers because I didn't know what vegetables would be served. And dafka at the meals of the bar mitzvah, there wasn't a ton of veggies, or it wasn't veggies that were helpful. So each time I had my cucumbers, with me, because I just had, I had, you have to roll with the punches, but if you come prepared, maybe you can avoid the punches, so to speak. So I think that's, one part of it.
For sure. And I like Sabrina that set a really measurable goal of an actual weight goal. And I think that's fantastic. And Sabrina's been on that track. So, if you're losing and your rate of loss, it's okay to set, a measurable goal. And a measurable goal so really helps us to check in and to be like, well, what pace do I want to be losing at, right? How fun do I want to make this? How many meals do I really want to plan in advance? We talk about like consistent breakfast. That's one meal a day you've planned. That's amazing. But guess what? Like melting mode is like people really know their main 3 meals of the day. Like they do. They just know what they're having. They know I'm having salad, it has tuna or chicken, it has a fruit, or it has lots of crackers. Like they just know, and they're just laser focused on what they want. And week 4, always that cycle is melting mode also can cool off because it can. We get distracted, we get busy, and we have to dance with the struggle. And like, Yoni said, and like Alana said, roll with the punches. And so, and sometimes, guys, I have to tell you, I've been like wanting to get back into weight loss mode because I have these like 2 kilo that are my like winter kilo, and I want to be in my summer like fighting weight. And I have to say, it has just been thing after thing after thing after thing. And with a trajectory of weight loss, it's been maintenance. And it's my choices, but it's my choices to roll with the punches and roll with the punches and roll with the punches and not drown. And sometimes that means, right? Like, take a deep breath. Okay, that's amazing. I'm doing great. I'm rolling with the punches, and there's a lot of things I'm not in control over, but I'm feeling fitter. I feel great about all my decisions. I'm not having no treats. So I know that like, I can be honest and be like, okay, like at the rate of emotional shit that's coming, this is what maintenance looks like. Baruch Hashem, I was leaning towards weight loss. And so as you go into the month, we have to always check in with our honesty level. And in week 1, we make a plan. In week 2, we can choose to accelerate that plan by doing more of what works and less of what doesn't, and increasing the fun. But week 3, we have to ask ourselves, are we willing to put in more effort right now for it to be effortless later? Or are we putting in more effort now so that we have the opportunity to continue our journey later? And sometimes it takes all our effort to be in maintenance. And that's okay. If you ever find yourself in that place, you're not alone. That's, I think, the end of our show for today, guys. Great job, everybody. Thank you for your awesome contributions. And I will see you guys next week for chapter 6, which again, now we're going to get into recipes. We're going to get into very practical things. Yoni, have anything you want to say about
Next
chapter 6?
Next week is supposed to be 7 because 5 and 6 we were going to do together. So I'm going to do a really kitzer on 6 because I prepared all of 7 already.
No problem.
So we'll do a very fast version of 6, but also if you read what it is, you'll see why it's super easy because it's recipes.
It's the recipes
kind of
that
be a
go
6
with
and
it.
7.
Exactly. It's the recipes that went with this. So you can look at them, like I said at the beginning, or you can go to chat.
We'll share that in the group. We'll actually share that in the group that they should just look into 6 because it's really not it's not so much of a learning chapter.
I looked at 6 because it's really the recipes that's why I really wanted to spend the time on breaking down the different weeks and the different framework. So guys, have a wonderful rest of your day or night, depending on where in the world you are.
Shavuot tov.
Shavuot tov.